Have to understand, vision is singular. The words echoed in the cavernous hall, bouncing off the crystal chandeliers and the 2,000 rapt faces staring up at him. Xavier stood on the stage of the National Tech Innovator Awards, bathed in a spotlight so white it bleached the color from his tailored suit. The camera flash caught the glint of his teeth as he smiled, a perfect predatory crescent. He was accepting the award for Project Nightingale, our project. My project. Lawyer Priya shifted beside me in the cramped theater seat. I didn't look at her. I just leaned in, my voice a ghost of a whisper against the applause. His singular vision is about to meet a plural lawsuit. We met in a university library, hunched over identical coding textbooks 5 years ago. Xavier had the kind of casual charm that made people want to help him, to be part of his orbit. I was the opposite, quiet, methodical, more comfortable with syntax than with people. Saw the intricate designs I sketched in my margins. I saw the ambition burning behind his eyes. We decided to build something. I remember our first real success, a small app for managing local food co-ops. We pulled a 72-hour marathon session in my tiny apartment, the floor littered with empty pizza boxes from Tony's and styrofoam coffee cups. At 4 a.m. on the third day, I hit compile, and the code ran flawlessly. Xavier didn't whoop or cheer. Just looked at the screen, then at me, and said, "We're going to be gods." That was the good memory. The first red flag came a month later, during a pitch to a local angel investor. I'd spent a week writing a complex sorting algorithm that was the core of our app's efficiency. In the meeting, Xavier presented it as, and I quote, "a little something I whipped up over the weekend." The investor was impressed. When I confronted him later, he just laughed, slinging an arm around my shoulder. "Zoe, it's all about the narrative. You're the engine, I'm the face. It's the perfect team." I believed him. For 2 years, the narrative worked. We launched Elysian Interfaces. I was the engine, buried in code until my eyes blurred, architecting the back end of every project. He was the face, networking at rooftop bars in Manhattan, charming clients and filling our Instagram with stories of hustle and inspiration. We landed a major contract with Strata, the fitness app, redesigning their user interface. My work, his win. Bought a vintage Rolex with his first big commission check. I paid off my student loans. The imbalance grew so slowly I barely noticed it, explaining it away as the cost of our partnership. He managed the business, I managed the product. That was the deal. The cracks appeared on a Tuesday in October. An email landed in my inbox with the subject line, FWD, IP transfer and sole proprietorship filing. It was from Xavier's new executive assistant, clearly sent to the wrong Z. Attached was a thread between Xavier and his personal lawyer, detailing the final steps of assigning all of Elysian Interfaces, intellectual property, including our new flagship, Project Nightingale, to a new shell company, a company owned only by him. The air left my lungs. For a moment, the world was a high-pitched ringing. Then, a cold, quiet calm settled in. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This was a plan. For the next 6 weeks, I lived a double life. Day, I was the loyal partner, fine-tuning the Nightingale prototype. By night, I became a digital forensic investigator. I used my admin privileges to run a deep dive on our shared servers. I found the draft contracts stripping me of co-founder status, relabeling me as a founding-level developer. I found the parallel accounting books in a hidden folder, where he'd been siphoning funds for business development trips to Bali and Milan. The scale of the betrayal widened with every click. He wasn't just stealing my work. He was erasing my existence from the company we built together. The breaking point arrived in a glass-walled boardroom on the 48th floor, overlooking Central Park. It was the final pitch for our Series A funding, with Mr. Vance and the other partners from Sterling Ventures. I sat to Xavier's right, my laptop open to the presentation we'd prepared together. He never even glanced at it. He stood up, all charisma and confidence, and delivered a masterful performance, presenting Nightingale as his solo passion project, born from a moment of singular inspiration. When Mr. Vance turned to me to ask a technical question, Xavier intercepted it. "Let me be clear," he said, his voice smooth as polished granite. "Zoe has been a valuable asset for prototyping, but she lacks the strategic foresight for a project of this magnitude. Her role has concluded." "This is my vision, my risk, my company." The partners nodded, their eyes on him. The air in the room became thin, sharp. In that sterile, silent moment, every ounce of hurt inside me crystallized into purpose. I felt nothing but the quiet hum of the server in my mind, the one where I had stored all the evidence. As he clicked to his final slide, I saw it, a tiny detail he'd overlooked. In the footer, in 8-point font, copyright 2024 Elysian Holdings LLC. Our joint company was Elysian Interfaces Inc. That LLC was his weapon. It was about to become mine. Priya Sharma was an IP lawyer with a reputation for surgically dismantling egos. Her retainer was $15,000, nearly everything I had. "Worth it," she'd said, her eyes scanning the documents I'd brought. "The best revenge is a well-drafted legal complaint." The next 2 months were a blur of logistics. Priya's team worked with a forensic accountant, tracing every dollar Xavier had embezzled. I spent my nights meticulously documenting my contributions to the codebase. We had one close call when Xavier messaged me on Slack at 2 a.m. Hey, seeing some weird server activity. You running diagnostics. My heart hammered against my ribs. I typed back, just running a final security audit before the funding closes. He replied with a thumbs up emoji. He had no idea I was downloading the final server logs that would become the cornerstone of our case. The evidence folder Priya compiled was a work of art. We had the 50/50 incorporation documents for Elysian Interfaces, Inc. We had 47 printed emails where he referred to me as his co-founder. He had the complete Git commit history for Project Nightingale, showing my user ID. Z. Murphy was responsible for 92% of the code. We had the sworn affidavit from a junior developer he'd fired for questioning his expense reports. And then, the ironic coincidence. A gift from his own ego. He'd posted a selfie from his solo work retreat in Bali, bragging about his focus. The photo's metadata was a goldmine. The real prize was in the reflection on his designer sunglasses. Magnified 200 times, you could just make out the screen of his laptop. He wasn't coding. He was on the Delaware State website, filling out the registration form for Elysian Holdings LLC. Priya's strategy was brilliant. We let the VC deal close. We let Xavier sign the papers warranting that he was the sole, undisputed owner of the intellectual property. Just committed wire fraud and contractual breach on a scale that would make a publicly traded company blush. He had walked, smiling, right into the trap. Which brought us to the awards ceremony. Xavier on stage, holding the heavy glass trophy. As his speech hit its crescendo, a silent, coordinated attack began. A press release from Priya's firm, titled Elysian Interfaces co-founder files suit alleging massive IP theft and fraud, was emailed to every major tech journalist in attendance. Their phones, set on silent, began to vibrate. A low hum spread through the front rows. First, the simple evidence. The press release linked to a secure site with our original incorporation documents and his emails calling me a partner. Murmur went through the crowd. Then, the killer proof. A second link in the release went live, a side-by-side data visualization of the Project Nightingale code repository. My 14,382 lines of code next to his 1,204. And beneath it the Bali selfie with the reflection in his sunglasses blown up and circled in red. Undeniable. Humiliating. Viral. On stage, Xavier's confident smile faltered. Must have seen the face of his new investor, Mr. Vance, in the front row, staring at his phone with an expression of pure cold fury. Xavier's words caught in his throat. His bravado melted into raw panic. He stammered something about a misunderstanding, then fled the stage. He rushed down the side aisle right past our row. His eyes were wide, scanning for a way out. He wasn't looking at me, he was looking for an exit. He wouldn't find one. The fallout was immediate and spectacular. Crunch had the story up within the hour. By morning, Sterling Ventures had not only pulled their funding, but had also filed their own suit against Xavier for fraudulent inducement. His social media, once a curated monument to his genius, became a wasteland of angry comments. He ignored the 87 calls I didn't make. The arbitration was a formality. The evidence was absolute. Judgment was swift. The fraudulent IP transfer was voided, his shell company was dissolved, and I was awarded full control of Elysian Interfaces, Inc., plus $145,000 in damages and legal fees. 6 months later, I saw him, not online, but in the real world. I was on my way to a meeting with our new, fully committed investors, led by a very apologetic Mr. Vance. I stopped for a coffee, and there Xavier was behind the counter, wearing a stained brown apron with the name Tim on it. He was frothing milk, his movements clumsy, his face pale and drawn. He didn't see me. He was just another person in another service job, the kind of person he used to call invisible. My new office overlooks the city, the light flooding in all afternoon. The company is leaner, more honest. It's finally ours. Mine. I've learned that trust is a resource you allocate with care, and that the quietest people in the room often have the most detailed plans. He once told me that vision is singular. My vision was finally my own, and it was beautifully plural.